So let's talk about then, we just sort of touched on it a bit, getting a VA offer. So we've just given all of our listeners gloom and doom of the market. Let's talk about how we get them to win, okay? So VA offer, we're in different states, so our contracts are going to look different. So whenever you work with one of us, make sure to talk to us about what each of our contracts offers. But there are terms that sort of cross state lines and ideas. So let's talk about what we write in VA offers, what special terms we can do. Got two jets flying overhead, sorry guys. What special terms we can do to get you in a house on your timeline with your budget, and budget being a huge deciding factor. I mean, we know BAH calculators and everything, they ain't changing based on the market. Unfortunately, the Navy's not that quick. So, Christina, I've seen in the last few months, you've talked briefly about writing offers and keeping your buyers under their budget goals while winning multiple offer. Sending it to you. What do you do?
I think as agents, part of our job that's really important that a lot of people don't know is setting the right expectations. And Melinda actually had an amazing live video the other day showing a house that she had just closed on for a buyer and explaining what it cost and what that price will get you in that area. And it was very eye-opening because I don't know that market very well. I just know that it's a hot market, but it was really cool to sit there and think about it from the perspective of a potential buyer moving there going, cool, I know that my budget is this. Now I know what I can expect to get in a home. So I try and do the same thing when buyers are moving to my areas, explain, okay, here's the median price point. Here's where you're pre-approved to. Here's the situation. We're getting multiple offers. So if you're pre-approved, let's say for Washington for 450, we need to be looking in the 400 range. That way we can be competitive and beat out multiple offers if we need to without pushing you to your max, because yes, when you get a pre-approval, it's a great number, but understand, and we'll have lenders do a mortgage payment breakdown for you. So you understand, wow, I'm approved to 450, but that payment is pretty high. I don't want to go all the way to 450. So that being said, when you go to write an offer, you've got that expectation of, okay, I know I need to be around 400. I understand that I'm not going to find the 100% perfect home. What I want is a good investment, something that's a good fit for my family. It matches all the needs and wants that I have in a home, but it might need an updated kitchen, or we might need to fix up some landscaping later. Whatever it is, at least that expectation is set. Because the last thing I want is for my clients to be working so hard to try and find a home and just getting disappointed, but if they've got the right expectations, then great, let's hit the ground running. Let's see what we can find. The other thing is just understanding that when something comes on the market, we got to move quick. And whether that means me dropping everything and going and doing a FaceTime showing because you're at work and you can't run out there, or whatever it is, we'll make sure that we get you in there quick. So being on the listing side of things helps, because a lot of times I'll see what the offers are coming in at. I'll see how agents are being creative to get their offers accepted. And then when I go to write offers for my clients, I know exactly what I'm up against for the most part. So a lot of the things that we've been doing for Washington is using escalation clauses. So we're writing offers slightly above ask price. And then we're including an escalation clause, which says if you get any competing offers, we're willing to go, say, $1,000 over any competing offer up to a certain amount. We're doing increased earnest money deposits, which really, in the scheme of things, doesn't mean a whole lot, because that's going to get refunded to the buyer at closing. But it just shows that you're serious about the house. It's a good faith deposit, and shows that you've saved some money to purchase that house. We're trying to not ask the seller to pay any closing costs. We're definitely not asking for home warranties. And then doing shorter inspection periods and pass or fail inspections. And so I will always advise clients to get an inspection. I'm seeing a lot of people just waiving them altogether. Washington has really old houses. I would not waive an inspection in Washington. Maybe if it was new construction, but even then I would still get one. it just gives you that security of knowing that you're getting a good home, or yeah, it's a good home, but we know we're going to need to fix these items when we get in there. And then lastly, just trying to make the terms as favorable as you can for the seller. So if you know that seller needs a quick close or they need a longer close, if you're able to meet those needs for the seller, that's really going to be attractive over someone who's like, no, I got to be in there on this date. The seller's going to lean towards your offer.
Yeah.
So it kind of comes down to relationships. You know, if your agent maintains good relationships with other agents and they can really talk to that agent and say, hey, what's it going to take to win this bidding war, they'll kind of, you know, give you some indications of how you can write that offer without pushing the buyers out of their comfort zone.
Yeah, and I actually was going to speak to that a little bit, like the idea of not having an agent that you hire that's just going to write the offer you say without suggesting anything, and not contact the listing agent to figure out what the seller's looking for. I mean, I've won multiple of our multiple offer scenarios here in Jacksonville where I found out, oh, the seller needs to move out this date exactly because they're trying to buy this home from so-and-so, or they actually need some help with their closing costs. So maybe my buyer offers to pay, you know, some of the seller closing costs. But really, and like you talked about inspections too, I would never suggest not getting an inspection. But if we walk through the home and we feel like the home is in good standing, and we can say, well, we're going to do an inspection, but we're going to guarantee we won't ask for repairs. That kind of stuff really intrigues sellers because they don't want to have to do the nitpicky repairs here and there.
The other thing is, you know, with that relationship part of it, is your agent should be calling and kind of checking in. Hey, what's the activity on the house? Has it had back-to-back showings? Has it had only two? Maybe you don't need to write super high offers.
Yeah.
How many offers are you up against? If it's only two other offers, okay, so they're going to come in probably sort of close to ask price, maybe not crazy high. Oh, wait, it's got 10 to 15 offers. Okay, we're going to have to get really creative here. And then the biggest thing that I wanted to point out, just so I don't forget, is the importance of finding an agent who understands VA loans. So for the most part, in the areas that we cover, most agents are familiar. I've run across a ton of agents lately who are advising buyers, military buyers, to not go VA and to switch to conventional because they think it'll be more competitive. That just makes my skin crawl because I think VA buyers are losing that benefit, and they have worked so hard with deployments and sacrifices to get the benefit of a VA loan. That's a good, solid loan. There's nothing wrong with it. You need an agent who can advocate on your behalf and explain to the listing agent why that's a great offer and why they need to take it if they have questions. And I had one listing agent who had never seen a VA offer before, and she was like, you know, we've got conventional offers, even though yours is the strongest, yours is VA. And I said, let me explain to you how a VA offer works. And man, I was sweating, but I'm like, they're going to get this house, and they got it. And I made sure that transaction went so smooth. And at the end, she's like, wow, VA offers are great. I'm so glad we did this. I'm like, oh, thank goodness. But that's why it's so important, because it would have been so sad for someone to lose out in multiple offers with the strongest offer just because it was VA. So find an experienced VA knowledgeable realtor.
Yeah, Melinda, what are you doing in San Diego?
So, you know, we have a, it's interesting because it's a bigger city. So, you know, it's so much is the relationship, yet in the height of things, even getting a listing agent to answer your phone call was interesting. And one of the advantages of this group of people we mentioned before we started was we all list and represent buyers. So we see both sides. And I think some of the most enlightening for me that makes me a stronger buyer's agent is seeing the offers that come to my table on my listings. And it's no wonder that I've had good success, because there's a lot of sloppy offers. So that really, really matters. And matching it to the seller's needs, if you can get to that information. If you can't, a good agent can see it in the house. If I walk in a home and it's vacant, or I walk in the home and there's military jackets hanging, I know what's happening. Speed is going to be important. Or for the military house, the guaranteed close is going to be important because they can't mess around. They got their orders, they're going, they're on a timeline. If the house is vacant, speed's more important than anything, and price is going to be really important. If it's somebody who's moving into the next house, well, the timing and the ability to make that fall in order is going to be important. But Christina said the most important thing, this part has not changed. It's the setting of the expectations. Yeah. So all of my clients, all of my buyers, including VA, whose expectations match their budget, are in their homes. I think one thing that didn't get touched on, that the speed is really important. So our ability to work with a VA lender who can close, the fastest VA closing I've done, I'm doing those now, are 17 days.
Wow.
This thought that VA takes forever. Now there are national VA lenders that everybody knows, Veterans United, USAA, Navy Fed, these kind of things. They're on a 30 to 45 day schedule.
Right.
17 days. That is the difference in a VA loan. So speed, even if the people don't want to move out in 17 days, speed to close is really important. Speed to get through inspections is really important. One thing that we heard all around, my clients are not giving up their inspections either. Never, ever, ever. But we are doing, again, it's setting expectations. I go through with the client. Now look, it's old carpet. We're not going to ask for a carpet allowance. We're not asking for that. This does, the fridge is dented. The roof is old. The heater's old. But if they work, we're not asking for replacements and credits for that. In California, probably the same for both you guys in Florida, the termites are probably one of the biggest issues for us with VA right now, because it has to be clear before we close, and the sellers here with a conventional loan don't have to be clear before close. So that's probably been the biggest challenge. And then the other big challenge that you didn't mention is the appraisal gap.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up after, so go ahead.
Yeah. Have to talk about gaps and waivers in VA and the law and all of that, but there's still ways to, it's setting expectations.
Yeah, I think the appraisals though, I mean, you're talking about a 17-day closing for VA. The reason why I had such a whoa, I've closed 21 before, but we are having such a backup with appraisers here in Jacksonville. I had one take 5 weeks. Granted, wow. At 3 weeks, the seller didn't let the appraiser in the house. So then we had to reschedule. So it should have been 3 weeks. But I mean, that's a long time. And that's really all we were waiting on. Buyer had basically clear to close except for the appraisal coming back. But appraisals are a bit difficult in this market because appraisers look at the last 6 months of data. And in this market, I'm at least looking at the last 2 months. I'm not looking at 6 months ago because that price, that doesn't exist anymore. We're in the last 60 days. And so it's hard to sort of agree with an appraiser sometimes on what the value is going to come in at, and making sure that you're not offering a price that's not even close to appraisal. Or if you are, and your buyer's either comfortable or willing to make up the gap, then that's a discussion you have well before you go even see the house, because it makes a difference.
And that's the discussion that the expectations we had to set here. I have had to tell clients, we can do zero down. We can fold your closing costs in. We can't get closing costs. I haven't had closing costs paid here since a year ago. But we're going to have to promise a gap. If you don't have cash to bring, I'm not saying you're going to have to bring, because I'm very good at pricing and predicting usually what that's going to appraise at. If you don't have cash to bring, at least in the last 6 months, we're not getting your offer accepted. Not for the 3-bedroom, 2-bath house that everybody wants. If you're willing to go to a downtown condo, if you're willing to go further east, if you're willing to go further north, we can do that. But if you want to live in Chula Vista and you work on 32nd Street, you want a 3-2 or a 4-2, you have to have cash to bring to the table. And what's funny, or not funny, is a lot of people think that VA buyers have no cash. Well, I have a lot of great VA buyers that do have cash, and that's been part of us selling the offers to the other agents and showing them and educating the buyer as to where they have cash. Do they have it in some of their savings accounts? Do they have it? I had one, VA, not active duty. They had 2 cars. they were willing to sell one of those cars to make up the gap. I said, don't sell it yet. Let's get the appraisal. But they were willing to take the $20,000 from that car and do that because they wanted the house that badly.
Yeah. We've still got the Salute Our Soldiers program, which I've mentioned in previous videos, which is basically the state of Florida covering closing costs. So if you're a buyer in Florida that has saved your money to pay for your closing costs, now you don't have to. You can use that money to potentially make up an appraisal gap. So there's a bit of options here on how we accomplish getting you through the door.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with what you ladies just said is when a lot of my buyers that are VA, they think that you don't need to have any cash when you're purchasing VA. And one of the things that I've done for years is just explain that, yes, you'll need cash for your earnest money deposit. That's that good faith deposit at the beginning. And you'll also need cash for your inspection and then possibly closing costs. But now just having that conversation with our buyers about exactly what you just explained, the appraisal gap, or, Melinda, you mentioned termites. We've got one under contract in Florida right now. And we actually have the seller on that one, VA family as well. They bought it VA. The house is being sold as is. And the buyers are well aware everything is fine, but of course we found some wood rot. Wood rot is very inexpensive to fix, but it's as is. So VA offer, like you said, we'll have to get that fixed prior to closing. So how are we going to do that? And we also had multiple offers. Well, we're getting creative, and we've done this on a few properties where the seller will agree to fix it, and the buyer is signing that they will give the seller a credit at closing to pay for that.
Yeah.
So, there's definitely some things we can do to be creative to make it work and keep our buyers from getting discouraged on using a VA loan, because they are great loans.
If you're PCSing soon or looking to buy a home and you have questions about the VA loan and how to get your VA offer accepted, whether or not you're going to be in San Diego, Washington State, or anywhere in Florida, the three of us are here to help. You can always call.